enough of that. Enough of that. What is poppin', YouTube? Back again with another video, and it's a special edition of a mock draft. And I had to bring someone in, but before I bring him in, I gotta hype him up a little bit. His name's Hutch, and if you don't follow him, he might be who I wish I was when I was his age. When I was in high school, let me tell you this, I wasn't focusing on fantasy football content. I was hanging out with my friends and I wasn't as consistent. So shout out to Hutch for being super consistent, knowing his stuff, and being an absolute fantasy dog. Hutch, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here, my guy.
Thank you. I appreciate the intro, man. I don't know if I deserve it, but I appreciate the warm welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No,
This
100%.
is gonna be exciting, man. I love mock drafts. This is gonna be good.
No, it's gonna be so much fun. And if you don't know, go follow Hutch at, of course, his at is right there on the stream, as well as he does a great, absolutely great podcast with Luke Sawhook, Hooked on Fantasy Podcast. How many days a week do you guys do that?
We do one right now. Yeah, every Monday night we live stream it on Twitter, and then it goes on podcast apps on Tuesdays.
And that, not only is it a great podcast to go listen to or watch live, they get the biggest and brightest in the fantasy football industry because they're two of the youngest, coolest fantasy football guys you could ever hang out with. So definitely go check those guys out. But of course, we are starting this mock tonight, and we're excited for it. We're excited. We got some heavy hitters here. I know Kevin joined, and it looks like Kevin is hopefully Kevin's watching. Hopefully Kevin, I know he just joined, but we're about to get this going. So they're complaining. They're complaining in the chat, Hutch. So let us get it going.
Go for it. Yeah. I'm glad Kevin's not right next to me.
I know. I should have sent it. Oh, he jumped on. He's jumped on. So we're all good.
He's in.
Oh, JJ at the 101. Hutch, I mean, JJ and Chase seem to be the overall first two picks, especially when you're talking PPR. How do you imagine the first 5 picks go in your typical redraft league that you're in?
Yeah, I think the first 5 picks are going to be a combination of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, and Christian McCaffrey. You might swap Cooper Kupp maybe for Austin Eckler or Travis Kelce. But I think those first 4 of Chase, Jefferson, Hill, and McCaffrey right there at number 4 are kind of locked in 4. Number 5, I can see a few different names going, but those top 4 are kind of locked in to me. I mean, obviously with Jamar Chase, with the Joe Burrow injury, if that, pans out to the point where Joe Burrow's slated to miss like 6 games or something like that, that could knock Jamar Chase out of the top 4 for me. I could put Cooper Kupp over him, and could be comfortable with Tyreek Hill over him. And I love CeeDee Lamb this year. He's my wide receiver 4 for this year. I absolutely love Lamb. I think he deserves a spot potentially over Jamar Chase if Joe Burrow was to miss that much time. So it is interesting with Chase to see with Burrow's injury, but for now he's locked in as top 2.
Yeah, looks like Jackson seems to be on, but he somehow just autoed there. So I don't know if he didn't know that he was thinking. But Austin Eckler at the 1.5 or the 1.6, and then Cooper Kupp at the 1.7. I do think Cooper Kupp. I know the injury concerns are there. I do like Cooper Kupp that late. Like he was wide receiver 1 on a punch per game basis. Nice. Like it feels nice. Like it feels great. And here I am on the board.
Ooh, Bijan Diggs go.
Bijan and Diggs. I was hoping one of them would fall. Neither of them fall. So we're stuck staring down the gun. Don't love any of the running backs in this range. We're not, of course, not super flex. So I'm just gonna be drafting CeeDee Lamb. I don't love it.
Come on.
But
come on, man.
It depends on who falls. It depends who falls to me in the next pick, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That CeeDee Lamb was definitely my target 12. I think he's it's like the wide receiver 7 off the board. I think he's a steal. I think he should pretty much easily be a top 5 receiver drafted. So I'm on the board here. Oh, these are fast clocks. I didn't realize that for a second.
No, you're
so
fine, yeah.
I think the first pick I think it's got to easily be AJ Brown. I don't see an argument for anyone else here. I think it has to be AJ Brown. He's locked in with Jalen Hurts and Philly in that offense. And the second pick is definitely more interesting. I mean, I want to take Jacobs, but the holdout, it's really, really, really difficult. So I think my next player that I have ranked highest is actually going to be Garrett Wilson. So I'm going to go back-to-back receivers in the first round, which in the back of the first, I tend not to do. In the back of the first, I usually like to leave with one running back. But with Garrett Wilson available, it was kind of just, I'm going to take AJ Brown. I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. Just go for those 2.
And you should know that everyone who follows this channel, my friends, they all know I'm super high on Garrett Wilson. I think if you look at how he performed last season, when you compare splits, of course, with like
Your
Mike
pin
White.
tweet is literally Garrett Wilson, wide receiver
It's
one.
literally wide receiver one. That's my pin tweet, and a
Yeah.
lot of people hated for it. A lot of people told me that I was trying to do clicks, but it's like when you read through like the analysis on it, it makes perfect sense. So being able for you to get AJ Brown a little bit more secure, Garrett Wilson, high upside wide receiver there at the turn feels great.
Yeah, and also looking at the running backs down the board, like I was looking at guys down the board in my range. There are a few running backs where I'm just like, I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with those guys in my RB1. So I'm pretty comfortable right now, even though I think Nick Chubb would have been a nice pick at the turn because, as I said earlier, I like getting a stud running back at the end of the first because it's just like getting one of those top tier running backs is really nice. But Garrett Wilson and AJ Brown, I put those two together was kind of really difficult to pass up.
Yeah, no, when you especially get the two guys that could arguably both finish as the wide receiver one. We've seen wide receivers. It's just like the new best ball strategy is now everybody's redraft strategy, especially if you play PPR. If you're talking like 0.5 or standard,
PPR.
like, of course, the running backs then get bumped off the board. But definitely love your start there. Shout out to Hurricane who's drafting with us here today. Hurricane also does a ton of writing, so if anyone wants to go check out his Calvin Ridley profile, I told him he could plug it here on the stream today. Hurricane is what is a catch? So he's got CMC and Jonathan Taylor, which I did that exact same start in Tyler's stream yesterday or 2 days ago, which was crazy. And people are really low on JT right now. How are you feeling about drafting JT in the back end of the second?
I think in the back end of the second is totally fine. I think that's a fair pick to make. I would project that he plays this year, and with Anthony Richardson, it's really, really tough because the season when he really broke out, had that like, difference making season where he went, I think it was 1,800 plus rushing yards. He was up there for MVP. Like he was really, really a difference maker. In that season, he saw 51 targets and caught 40 balls. Anthony Richardson's a quarterback that is not going to be dumping off the football. When he sees pressure, he's going to be running the football. And that's really going to hurt Jonathan Taylor. If his target numbers go down to more in like the 30s range, that could really, really hurt him. And the offensive line right now is a bit of a mess in Indianapolis. Hopefully make a bounce back this year, but they were a mess last year. And if that shows anything to what they're going to be this year, then Jonathan Taylor is in a little bit of trouble. And generally, I think this offense could be worse than it has been. This offense has been bad, but Anthony Richardson might be one of the worst rookie passers we've ever seen. If not the worst. I know there've been some bad rookie passers, but Anthony Richardson was literally completing 50% in college. Like this dude could be horrific in this season. So I'm a bit concerned about Jonathan Taylor, but the late second, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, who would you prefer? Like any of these running backs I went after, like you're taking a Breece Hall, you're taking a Gibbs, you're taking an ETN. I know Ramondre's still out there. Like, are you taking any of those guys over JT? Or are you still very much
probably not? No, at that spot, I think it's JT. I think I'd take JT over Pollard as well. I think I'd take JT over Pollard, but that's the only one. When you said Gibbs, I am tempted. Gibbs was one of the players I was hoping to come back in the late third, but he just went right there. I know Kevin made a smart pick, and that's why I said I don't want to be next to Kevin. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Jahmyr Gibbs he's like my guy for this year. I'm all in. I can't stop drafting him.
Oh, I think I've seen Gibbs now doing
Mark
these
Andrews
mocks.
there is an excellent value too.
Oh, Mark Andrews, love that. Yeah, my cousin just picked that. The Bijan Mark Andrews, loving that team. Yeah, Gibbs, absolutely loving the upside there. I'm on the board, and yeah, none of my players fell to me. I mean, I feel like Ramondre is probably the pick, but it doesn't feel great.
I'm really worried about Ramondre. I loved him earlier in the offseason, but with the rumors about Leonard Fournette and Zeke both visiting, and potentially Dalvin Cook being able to set up a visit, it's not looking good. Because if one of those guys gets signed, Stevenson in the third round is not something you're going to be seeing very often.
So I'm on the clock, and one of my guys that I had in my queue is still on the board. So I think I got to take him. I'm going to be taking Aaron Jones, who's consistently an RB1 every single season, and I don't understand it. He's a top 10 back every year and still being drafted as like the RB 15 to 20. It's not fair, and it's just too easy. I'm going to take that. And then to start off the fourth round, man, it's really, really tough. There's so many names here. I think, what I'm going to do? I'm really excited about the Minnesota passing offense this year. And I'm going to grab somebody I don't grab often in drafts, but he fell to the fourth round. Usually he's going a little bit later than this. I mean, usually a little bit earlier than this. Usually I see him go in the third. But seeing him in the fourth round, I like. This Kirk Cousins passing offense is going to be elite every single year since they've added Justin Jefferson. They've increased in pass attempts. This year they lost their big-time running back. They added a big-time wide receiver in Jordan Addison in the first round. And it's a full year of Hawkinson. And Hawkinson just isn't a really top-tier tight end in the NFL. I'm very excited for this passing offense, what they're going to be able to do this year. So give me all the TJ Hawkinson in the fourth round. In the third round, I think it's expensive. I think that's really, really tough. But
4th round when he fell to me there. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, I love Hawkinson, especially when you're talking like Hawkinson versus Andrews. Like when you're able to get, I mean, I know Andrews feels like he went late. I've typically seen him early in
He
the
went
third.
late in this draft. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's usually very early third, if not in the
Yeah,
second.
second.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love Andrews this year. Andrews is one of my favorites this year. He is somebody that I love to target. But yeah, he fell late in this draft. I was almost starting to put him on my queue. I was like, is he gonna fall to me in the end of the third?
And the thing, I just love the ADP gap that you have, and like I think Hawkinson, as much as I do love Andrews, like the upside is still as much there for Hawkinson as it is for Andrews. So
I like that. Yeah.
So I know we didn't get to hit on this because we were talking about our own picks, but seeing 4 quarterbacks go off in the 3rd round, I feel like this is becoming even more of a trend this year. Getting that elite stud QB1. Now, I love me some Lamar Jackson. He's my like target late 4th round, middle of 4th round type quarterback, but seeing him go in the 3rd ahead of Jalen Hurts, how are you feeling?
I don't think that. I mean, I don't like that. I mean, I love Lamar this year. I think he should be easily ranked as the quarterback 4. I think he's kind of in his own tier for me at quarterback 4. He should be right there behind those elite 3 in Hurts, Allen, and Mahomes. And Lamar has all the upside this year to be quarterback 1 overall. So I don't really hate it. You're really taking a shot there, but I would definitely rather have Hurts if I were at that spot.
100%. Totally agree. For the 5 viewers currently tuning in, I appreciate you guys for tuning in here, drafting with us here today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Trying to grow the channel to 500 subs. By the time the season starts, we're getting there. Preseason's here. CJ Stroud's throwing picks and, preseason week 1. So football's here, baby.
Absolutely.
Justin Herbert at 410. I definitely I like him more in the 5th. I think quarterbacks are really starting to fly off the board early here, which means I'm probably just going to wait. Drizzy Drake. Okay, when you're comparing ADP of Kyle Pitts versus Drizzy Drake, which Kyle Pitts now goes at the 5-1. Shout out Kevin, who's having just absolute masterclass here of drafting. Who do you like better? And I know we're doing redraft, but if you had both in Dynasty, would you be trying to sell off one? I feel like that's a discussion a lot of people are having right now.
So sorry, I missed the first 2 names. I missed the 2 names you said. Sorry, I was looking at the board.
Drizzy Drake and Kyle Pitts, Drake London.
Kyle Pitts. Which one would I take in Dynasty?
Which one would you take in Dynasty? And if you had both, would you be trying to trade one away?
Oh man, that's tough. I think in Dynasty, I feel like in Dynasty, I would want Kyle Pitts. I feel like the advantage at tight end that he could present this year is just insane. And I feel like people are going to be begging over that if he really has a step forward season. Drake London, on the other hand, he could have a nice breakout, but I feel like if only one of these 2 receivers are going to have a breakout, I feel like it's Kyle Pitts. I would bet on him. I think he's the more talented receiving option on the team.
No,
really do. When you look at his athletic ability, when you look at his size, like everything is just, it's Kyle Pitts, and they drafted him in the 1st round, 4th overall. I mean, they did draft Drake London 8th overall as well, but I would bet on Kyle Pitts here. I think he's the more talented player. I think if one of these guys are going to break out, it's going to be him. Drake London, I do like as a buy, though, if you're buying low as a rebuild team for when the Falcons could eventually get a quarterback. But if I want one of these 2 guys in Dynasty, I want Kyle Pitts. The advantage of tight end is just too nice.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Drake London's going to give you an advantage. I don't think that's going to happen because he's not like, he's not like a talent where it's like, oh, this guy's generational. He's not like a generational talent. He's good, but he's not generational. Kyle Pitts could be generational. So I'm going to take that shot all day.
I love that, Hutch. So we got Jacob coming in here. There's 2 people watching on my screen, so add +1 viewer. Jacob, we appreciate you for tuning in here tonight. Jacob, are you drafting with us? I don't know. Everyone has different names on.
Yeah.
So don't know if you're drafting here with us. Justin Fields went off the board. That was who I wanted. That was a good pick. It leaves me kind of scrambling here. I have 4 wide receivers.
You went 4 straight wideouts, yeah.
I know, and I don't like any of the running backs here, so I'm taking George Kittle, but I don't love it. I don't love it at all.
Yeah, George Kittle's a tough one. I mean, he recently, did you see his injury in camp?
Yeah, I did.
I don't remember what it was exactly, but there was something up with him. He left practice early. So yeah, I'm on the clock here, and I'm actually going to pick someone that I don't usually pick in drafts again, but I think with this guy getting 0 snaps in preseason games, I think it's interesting. I think it's clear that he's their team's RB1. He's really talented. He showed a lot in his rookie year. I'm actually going to take Dameon Pierce. I mean, with the new coaching staff in town, this is going to be a run-first offense that tries to play good defense with a rookie quarterback in CJ Stroud. They have decent offensive linemen. I think Dameon Pierce is set up for the workhorse role. Like the more, like I want to see it more throughout preseason, but I'm gonna take a shot here because he got very little preseason snaps. Like he didn't get any work at all, which shows that they value him a lot and they don't want him getting injured, which shows a lot of what they want to do with him in the regular season.
Yeah,
So I'm very, very excited for Pierce.
And then I'm on the clock. Oh shoot, yeah, I just.
No, you're fine. I can pause it and go back if you want.
Yeah, I had my pick lined up, but I totally got lost explaining my pick.
Wait. Tell me who you wanted.
I was gonna go.
Cam Akers actually.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, because I had him on the queue. Yeah, I was gonna
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, so I'm good.
Okay.
And then Cam Akers set up to be the workhorse role for the Los Angeles Rams. Like it's just easy. It's just an easy pick for me every time. Matthew Stafford with his elbow injuries, all the injuries he's going through as an older quarterback, it's going to be dump off city, and Akers is going to be soak up those all day long. And some people like to say Akers is not a pass catcher. In the games where he truly takes over as the running back on the team, he can pass catch. And watch this film. This dude can catch the football. In his last 6 games, this guy was on pace for 1,400 plus rushing yards and 31 receptions, which isn't mind-blowing, but it's solid. If he can put up like those, that's his upside this year. He can put up those levels of numbers. That's just absolutely wild.
I think I'm officially hating the 10th pick. I think I've always hated the 10th pick. I mean, I like it in best ball, but when you're talking here, like George Kittle and then J.K. Dobbins in the 6th, I'm feeling like I made a mistake. I should have gone. Well, the 4-3, I guess. Yeah, there wasn't really anyone at the 4-3. I should have, instead of taking T. Higgins, I should have taken Ramondre. That's the mistake I made. But it's okay. You live in.
I would have taken Aaron Jones.
Or Aaron Jones, yeah. Just some type of solid running back play because this 0 RB strategy is looking a little rough over here.
Yeah, it's tough with 0 RB because it's the thing is that everyone likes to do 0 RB now. So when you do 0 RB, you're stuck taking like the leftovers of wide receiver over and over and over again, especially with you at the 10th pick. I'm guilty a little bit because I kind of did it the first 2 picks with AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, but I don't think I'm losing out anything there. Both those guys could be top 5 this year pretty easily. So I was happy with that. But yeah, when you get in the 3rd and 4th round, like there's some good running backs available and wide receivers are getting thinner. And it feels like you're chasing when you're drafting wide receivers in that range now because running backs are just falling.
So I have 3 questions in queue. So Hurricane says, where are we on at Jonathan Taylor, assuming he plays? I know we kind of hit on it when we talked about.
Yeah, a little bit earlier. Yeah, we did.
But I think we assume he's being drafted kind of like at a great point. Like if you get him at the back end of the 2nd, upsides there where you could potentially see him, surpassing maybe Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. But it's like, we feel like it's very unlikely just due to the fact of his last year's point per game stats and the fact that the year that he was, RB1, crazy amount of receptions that he's not going to be getting this year. So is that kind of where we're landing, Hutch?
Yeah, that's exactly where we're landing. I'm concerned about the receptions and the offense in general. Like that's where I'm at. It's just, I just don't see him getting back to where he was at RB1 overall. I think he's got the talent to do it, but the offense is just in a much worse situation than it was in that year.
Ooh, Kevin going Mike Evans, who was a lot of people tweeted about him today on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that, Hutch. A lot of people are saying the value of the 7th round, which I guess he went at the back end of the 6th. So it seems.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. I got more of a Godwin guy. Looking at Baker Mayfield and what he's looking to do, Baker Mayfield is a player who just throws to the open guy. It doesn't matter what numbers on the back of his jersey. Baker Mayfield is someone that throws to someone who's open. He's not going to be taking shots at Mike Evans, who's clearly lost his ability to separate over the last couple of years. It's gotten worse and worse, his separation numbers. Godwin is a player who can separate. I'm going to take him. And then when you look at Kyle Trask as well, a young guy trying not to make mistakes, I don't know if you're going to want to chuck it to Mike Evans, who has 3 defenders on him. You're going to want to throw it to an open man, and that's Godwin. So I personally am finding myself taking Godwin a lot more than Addison. But I can see it. He's had 1,000 yards every single year he's played. And I mean, you could see it again this year, but I think this might be the year where we see the drop off a little bit.
Over under 1,000 yards. Is he surpassing that again?
I might bet I would bet under. I don't think he hits it. I think the quarterbacks are not going to be looking his way.
It's going to be depressing if that happens. I'm personally rooting for Mike Evans, but I mean,
so am I. I would love to see. I just don't see it. I see the quarterbacks looking other ways.
And when he did have Jameson Williams was chucking the ball over the yard, and that's not Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. So
you mean Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston. What did I say?
You said Jameson Williams.
Well, Jameson Williams. 6 games.
Quarterback Jameson Williams.
Quarterback. You know what? It'd be like Michael Vick in his prime. I'm pretty sure running out there, but probably
Exactly.
convertible. Oh goodness. I'm just
You
continuing
better
to
not.
address.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it was too
Come
late. It
on,
was too
man.
late. It was
That's
too
not
late.
fair.
It was too
That's not
late.
fair.
Yeah, no, that was my guy. That was 100% my guy, my pick. I love
Uh,
Jackson Smith-Njigba, man. He's like I feel like since people were really low in the draft class for wide receivers this year, and honestly, that's fair. Like it wasn't a deep wide receiver class, but Jackson Smith-Njigba was in his own tier by miles above all these guys. I think JSN was a clear stud wide receiver. So then I'm on the clock. I think I'm gonna actually go with Jahan Dotson, a second-year player for Washington who set up for. I mean, he was pacing with Terry McLaurin and down the stretch of the season. Like he was really, really good. And if Eric Bieniemy is smart, he's going to tell him how to throw it to number 1 and throw it to number 17. Like that's what he's going to do, and I think that's what they're going to try to do here. And if Jacoby Brissett eventually starts, which I think he will at some point, that's what they're going to try to keep doing. And I'm going to take a rookie running back who I really love in Zach Charbonnet. I honestly think he is significantly better of a value than Ken Walker. And especially with Ken Walker's injury now. Because, I mean, look at this offense. I mean, you look at how this offense could split up this year, how this backfield could split up. I don't mean to attack Kevin with his pick of Ken Walker, but I feel like Zach Charbonnet is significantly a better pick in fantasy. I think there's a world where Zach Charbonnet outscores Ken Walker this year in fantasy football. Because when you look at the guy who's better at pass catching, it's Zach Charbonnet by a mile. And then you look at the guy who's going to be better in the red zone. Ken Walker last year, he nearly led the league in 20-plus yard runs and 20-plus yard run rate. But he almost led the league in stuffed run rate as well. He was very boom bust as a runner. And when you're down in the red zone, going against stacked boxes, you want a guy who's consistent and reliable and not going to get stuffed. And that's Zach Charbonnet. He's somebody that consistently grounds and pounds and gets yards. So if Zach Charbonnet is going to get the red zone work, the primary touches in the red zone, and the most of the receiving work, that's all the valuable touches that you can get as a running back in an offense. So that leaves Ken Walker in a situation where it's good for football, like a role that's good for football, a lot of explosive runs possibly, but not a one that's consistent or reliable for fantasy. So I think Zach Charbonnet is significantly a better value than Ken Walker in fantasy right now.
Hutch, you are preaching exactly what I just put out a video. I think like 5 days ago talking about Zach Charbonnet.
Exactly. Yeah, I put out a tweet a few weeks ago saying Zach Charbonnet can outscore Ken Walker this year. I put it out a few weeks ago.
I think you got some hate. Did you get some hate on that one? A lot of people
right before the injury news for both of them, and it was like, yeah, people do not like me for that one, but I don't mean. And then now Charbonnet is practicing. I mean, I don't want to use this as a victory lap because it's not. I didn't predict the injuries. But, Charbonnet's practicing now. Ken Walker is still not practicing. If Charbonnet starts the season and Ken Walker does not, that's going to leave a lot of opportunity for Charbonnet to show off his talent. And if he gets rolling, Pete Carroll won't give the ball back to Ken Walker.
And even if Zach Charbonnet only gets 50% of the touches this next season, like he's going to be a crazy value in drafts compared to, like we said, you're having to take Ken Walker in the back end of the 4th, get Zach Charbonnet in the 8th, 4-round difference.
It's insane. It's absolutely wild. It's baffling to me. I think they should be going back to back.
So we have Jacob says, are you guys keeping up with the Texans and Patriots preseason game right now? I was watching it before this. I think you were too, but I'm not watching it currently right now.
I was half packing for the expo, half watching football.
So are you leaving tomorrow morning then?
Tomorrow morning, yeah. Tomorrow morning heading out. We got a 6-hour drive ahead of us, me and my dad.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. I think next year I'm gonna go to the expo for sure. I had a bunch of friends that were not able to make it this year, so I was just like, I didn't have anyone that I could stay with, so I was like, crap. But next year for sure. We'll meet up then next year for sure.
Yeah, man, you gotta come out. It's awesome.
Tank Dell touchdown. What do you guys think of him? Well, in Dynasty, he was a third round third round rookie pick. I mean, probably like wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7 in this rookie class. Someone's gonna have to catch the ball for the Texans. A lot of us thought it was Nico Collins. Some people were all over. Who did they sign? Robert Woods. I think Tank Dell probably has the most explosion out of all those guys. So, and CJ Stroud wanted the Texans to draft him. So that speaks, I think, highly of him, but it also is preseason. We think 2 years ago, who was it for the Saints? Was it Callaway who had like 2 massive Moss catches, 50-yard bombs, and then everyone went crazy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Marcus Callaway.
Yeah.
So my goodness. Remember him.
I don't get overhyped. I don't get overhyped in the preseason.
No, yeah, as you shouldn't. Preseason is not something you want to get super hyped into. It's not something you want to invest heavily in because it's not something you can. I mean, the Mingo. Sorry, not the Mingo. Sorry, Mingo. Sorry, that's the wrong name. The Tank Dell, the catch was impressive, but I think it would have been actually more impressive if he didn't drop it first and throw it up in the air.
I think I'm more impressed if he just caught the ball originally instead of throwing it up in the air and then catching it later.
But I mean, it was an impressive play that he was able to come down with. Oh man, oh, now I'm on the clock, and this is really, really tough. I could take a shot as some real upside here, but I think this player has plenty of upside, and he stacks with TJ Hawkinson. I'm actually going with Kirk Cousins. I almost took Anthony Richardson, but I think that he has plenty of upside, and I'll explain that in a second. And then my next pick on the board, I wanted to take wide receiver because I already have plenty of running backs, but I'm not liking the wide receivers on the board. So I'm going to take a shot at another running back that I think has a lot of potential this year. I'm going to go with Damian Harris. If he gets the goal line work in Buffalo, that he can get 8 to 10 touchdowns this year, he's going to be a massive value. But to Kirk Cousins for a second, I mean, as I said earlier, the Vikings have increased in pass attempts every season, and Kirk Cousins is on a contract year, and we know what he likes to do on one-year contracts on his contract year, and that's ball out. And he has the elite offense around him. He doesn't have a running back that's sustainable. I think Madison, personally, I don't know how you feel, Caleb. I think he's going to be a flop this year. I think he's going to completely flop this year and be an absolute bust for fantasy football this year. I think he's the biggest trap pick in fantasy this year right now. But Kirk Cousins is set up for a lot of success, a lot of pass attempts, and he doesn't run the football like Anthony Richardson does, but he has plenty of upside to be one of those pocket passers that just breaks it this year, breaks the game, has a super high touchdown rate, and just destroys for fantasy this year. I'm really in on Kirk Cousins, and it was close, very close between him and Anthony Richardson, because Richardson has all the upside in the world as well because of his rushing. I think Kirk Cousins can finish top 6. I mean, he did last year in 6-point passing scoring. He finished QB6.
Well, if you watch quarterback and understand that he put up QB6.
Yeah, watching quarterback is also maybe like him more as a person as well.
Like him more as a person.
Awesome.
He's awesome. A cool guy. And then you add in the fact that with the cameras in his face, probably didn't have as much personal time. Like, he was able to do all that, still put up his Kirk Cousins amazing fantasy football stats, and it's just not flashy. I think that's why a lot of us in the fantasy football community is like, oh, grab Anthony Richardson, grab any of these quarterbacks that have maybe a little bit more of the Konami code scrambling ability. But when Kirk Cousins honestly probably has the best weapons that he's had in the last 2 seasons, when you add in Jordan Addison, get a full season with TJ Hawkinson. Now, we don't know, like we said, we're both not really in on Alexander Madison. I'm not bought into the hype. I would not be worried to go in this draft.
It just means more pass attempts, man.
Yeah, easily. And
there's more pass attempts coming.
And they've already been a top 6 passing attempt team the last 2 seasons. So just all of a sudden accelerate that. And
they were number 3 in pass attempts last year.
Yeah.
And they all they've done is showing that they're going to go higher. All they've done, they've lost a big time running back in Dalvin Cook and added a first round receiver. They're just all they're showing is that they want to go up in pass attempts.
Yeah, JJ 101 easily. No one else at this point.
JJ.
Do you think he beats his last 2 seasons ago? His fantasy points per game.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's best year was his second year, right?
Yeah,
that was his best season. That was it.
That was 2 years ago. Well,
no, he was wide receiver 1 this past year overall.
Yeah, but on points per game, what was he? He was wide receiver 3, I think, right? Wide receiver 4
in points per game. He was averaging 21.69 points per game in this past year.
Let me see what he was.
The year before in PPR.
Oh, this last year he was wide receiver 2 on points per game. 2021 was wide receiver 4, and then wide receiver 9 his rookie season, but that was still freaking amazing.
Yeah, I better is difficult, and it's hard to get better than that. But with more pass attempts in this offense, more pass attempts going around, if Kirk Cousins really does show that he still's got it, there's all the potential there.
Yeah, totally agree. There, Kevin has left us. Shout out to Kevin, who just had a new child, so he was probably rocking.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, rocking his baby to sleep. Doing a little bit of a draft. Kevin's actually coming on the channel on Saturday, so shout out to Kevin making time for me as his 5th child. Well, he has a lot more responsibilities, and school's about to start for him. So, I actually might start tomorrow. So shout out Kevin for being here tonight. But no, I totally agree with Jacob here. The best squad. Kirk Cousins said. I haven't checked out the offensive line. I didn't really see what they addressed because clearly
not very good. No, it's still not looking good
last season. So
it's not looking very good still. And even also adding on to it, not just their offense, but their defense is going to be horrible this year as well. They did not make many divisions, and their defense was pretty poor last year. They're going to be giving up a lot of points. They're going to have to keep up with a lot of teams.
Well, hopefully he's got that chiropractor couple coming in every week.
Yeah.
He's gonna need it.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. This is
We'll see what falls to you here.
interesting. I might take I don't usually take second quarterbacks in drafts, but the thing is Kirk Cousins, while looking at a lot of his numbers and looking at the potential of this offense, he could take a step forward. But there's also a sense where you look at him and his efficiency numbers, there was a sense of a bit of a decline. And if that is the beginning of the end, there might be a backup option. I think this guy legit has top 5 upside this year. I'm going to take Daniel Jones, actually, who's a really good running quarterback. I don't think he's going to hit 700 yards like he did last year. But if Darren Waller really takes that step up, maybe if one of these receivers like Wan'Dale Robinson or Isaiah Hodgins or one of these guys really steps up, or maybe Jalen Hyatt, like one of these guys really step up and he gets, more than 15 passing touchdowns, which is what he had last year, which would be pretty easy for him. I think there's a lot of upside for Daniel Jones this year. And I don't want to take another running back, but I like the value.
I'm going to take Kendra Miller, who's one of my favorite rookie running backs this year. I can't get enough of Kendra Miller. I know he, has Alvin Kamara and he has Kareem. I mean, not Kareem Hunt, because Kareem Hunt didn't actually sign Jamal Williams to battle there in New Orleans. But this guy is just talented. When you watch him play football, when you see what he's able to do on the football field in TCU, he's one of the reasons they were a really good team for the past couple of years. Kendra Miller is an excellent running back. And I mean, he straight up beat out Zach Evans. Remember that when they brought in Zach Evans, he was a big time recruit and he straight up beat him out. Straight up just destroyed him. And he continued to be a great back for TCU. And I cannot wait to see what he does in the NFL. I think by season's end, he will be the dominant back for this team. He'll be what everyone wants in fantasy football. And right now you're getting him in the 14th round and or 13th round in this draft. And it's just it's easy. It's easy pick every time. I probably have gotten him in 80% of my mock drafts I've done. And that's not an exaggeration. I draft him pretty much every league.
And I think the last 2 days even fallen farther down with all the rumors of Kareem Hunt coming to visit.
Yeah,
makes everyone a little bit worried about, oh my goodness, you're adding in,
I've seen dynasty trades where he goes for a second and it's just a 2024 second. It's just why? I think he should have been a first round. I had him ranked as a top 10 rookie in Superflex leagues this year. I was very comfortable taking him in the first round at the end of it, but he was going in second and you're just paying a 2024 second. It's just easy money.
Who did you have higher in your dynasty rankings? Kendra Miller or Charbonnet?
I had Miller initially higher. I had Miller higher, but Charbonnet's close. I love Charbonnet.
Okay. Got to keep you honest. I was higher on Charbonnet, but I also like the draft capital 3rd round.
I thought Miller was the RB3 of this draft class. Miller, I had him ranked as my RB3. When I saw him get the 3rd round draft capital, even with no combine, even with no, all that due to the injury, and he still got in the 3rd round, I was like, yes, this is it. I'm all in. He's the guy.
Yeah. So Jacob's saying Kendra would have been a great pick for my team. Yeah. Well, Hutch sniped me.
Not bad.
So everyone knows too, I'm a Greg Dulcich. I gave him the nickname 3-legged Greg because, well, you can imply what that means.
Yeah.
Shout out to League FFB. Also great YouTube channel. If anyone wants to go check him out, puts out great dynasty content. And then Dulcich Taysom Hill 2.0 this year. LOL. I think Dulcich is probably more. I think he's going to be Sean Payton's tight end 1, which is going to be exciting. Someone's got to catch the ball besides Jared Judy in this offense. And yeah, I didn't love the Kyler Murray pick, but I mean, upside if Kyler Murray plays by week 7. If not, you drop him and it's whatever.
The only thing is with Kyler Murray is that when you look at quarterbacks off ACL injuries, the rushing production just never there. It's just never there. And Kyler Murray without rushing is not something I want to see in fantasy football in my lineup. So even if he comes back at some point this season, I just don't think he's ever going to have that rushing this year. I think this year is just not the year for Kyler. And I honestly I don't think it would be surprising if they trade him away after this year, even with a dead cap. I think there'd be someone that'd be willing to trade for him. And the Cardinals just go full on tank and draft Caleb Williams this year at number 1 overall.
Would not shock me in the slightest. And then now my last pick. I mean, I only have 3 receivers. I just kept liking the value that fell at running back. And I only took 3 receivers so far. I'm going to take a receiver here. One that I really like for this season. I'm going to take Michael Gallup. Oh, shoot, it ran out of time.
No, you're fine. We'll just assume you took Michael Gallup. What do you like about Mike Gallup?
I mean, it was between him and Nico Collins. They were the top 2 in my queue, but I was going to take Michael Gallup because I really think that his upside in fantasy football in this offense is really, really legit. Everyone's talking about how Mike McCarthy's going to make this a run-first offense. I just don't understand it because, sure, Mike McCarthy has the history of making run-first offenses, but who are they going to run the ball with? Who are they going to do it with? How are they going to run more than last year when they lost to Zeke Elliott and didn't replace him? Who are they going to give like 100 carries to? Ronald Jones? Like, what are they going to do? Like, they can't give Tony Pollard 300 plus carries. He's not built for that role. He has never been built for that role. And if they try to give it to him, he's going to get injured and he's going to have a really, really unfortunate injury, really unfortunate season. He's not built for it. So I think this is going to be a pass first offense. Personally, I think they're going to be top 10 in pass attempts this year. And there's a wide open spot for the wide receiver 2 in this offense. Michael Gallup's now second year removed off that ACL injury. He is a really nice pick for me late in drafts. But Nico Collins also has, I mean, he's an opportunity to be the number one in this offense. But the thing is with number one in a rookie offense, I mean, there was a recent study by JJ Zacharyson. I believe it was since 2001. There have every rookie quarterback to start the majority of the games, right? He looked at every rookie quarterback to start the majority of the games and looked at the receivers on that team for fantasy. Only 30% of rookie quarterbacks had a wide receiver that finished in the top 36. Only 30% of them. That is a low, low rate. And you're already looking at such an ambiguous wide receiver room that Nico Collins is such a dart throw. It is such a small percentage that he actually hits. So I would have rather taken Michael Gallup, but I can see the upside for Collins. He's built to be a number one.
Yeah, no. Hutch, great insights. If you guys are still here and you drafted with us, submit your name. We'll do a quick team grade of you if you submit on the YouTube comments. If you guys are here for the first time as well, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton as we're continuing to grow. You know, maybe we'll be able to afford to bring back Hutch. He has such a high retainer. So maybe we'll be able to pay that hourly fee that he submits. You know, now it's just my sales job that's now supplying that. But yeah, while people are kind of messaging in, I know you hit on a fact about Kyler Murray potentially being traded at the end of the season. Would it be insane if the Cardinals had the first 2 picks next season, which they have the Texans first rounder?
Yeah.
So if they end up with Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, it's like
that'd be so fun. It'd be so fun.
I think Houston might be a little bit better than the second overall pick. I don't think they're going to be a great team, but they've made a couple additions on defense. They have a better quarterback with CJ Stroud, who could have a solid rookie. I mean, based on training camp, based on the preseason, he's going to have a horrible season, but you can't trust preseason first game. But if he has a decent season for a rookie, and with D'Amico Ryan's a head coach, I don't think this team is going to be like a 4-win team. I think they're going to get more towards like 7-ish.
Okay.
Like 6-7. And that'll be enough to keep them away from second overall.
Yeah. It's a great, dream.
It's a dream. It's a great dream, but I just don't think that's a reality for them.
Yeah, no, appreciate. So while we're waiting for more people to kind of message in, let's do a grade. Let's do an honest grade of your team. How did you feel like your draft went?
So I think I lost out at wide receiver. I just missed out on the value at wide receiver. I kept taking running backs, and I think I kind of regret taking Kirk Cousins at that spot. I think I would have rather just not taken Kirk Cousins, went with a wide receiver who went after. I mean, you're looking at players like Tyler Boyd, you're looking at Jameson Williams. I could have taken one of those players over Kirk Cousins, and I could have totally rocked with that. And I would have had Daniel Jones my QB1, which I'd been very, very happy with. So yeah, I think the only thing is not taking a receiver for Kirk Cousins. But otherwise, I really like my draft. I got the advantage of tight end. I got some running backs I really, really like with Aaron Jones, Dameon Pierce, and Cam Akers, and Kendrick Miller, and Zach Charbonnet. I have a ton of running backs I really love. The only thing is the receiver depth. So I would have replaced Kirk Cousins with a receiver. That would have been nice. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy.
I'm in the same boat as you. I really feel like I hated the T. Higgins pick in the third. I went that way because I do prefer T. Higgins over like Ramondre or even Aaron Jones. But with my team, then Keenan Allen fall into the fourth. I needed a running back really bad. Then George Kittle at the 5. I didn't love any of the value around. Maybe I should have reached on Dameon Pierce, but I'm not as high as you are on Dameon Pierce, so that's kind of why
I've never been as high. I thought Devin Singletary was actually a reasonable a ad that would actually affect him, but that first game of preseason is something because obviously we like to take everything you see in preseason with a grain of salt. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. But seeing that he is not getting zero touches shows that they really care about his health because he's not injured right now. He's fine. Yeah. He could totally play. Like he's been full participating in all the camps and all the practices. He's not holding out or anything. He's 100% in. They could totally play him, but they decide, nope, we want to save you because that dude's built different. I'm thinking there could be a huge season coming for him. So I actually really like seeing no preseason snaps.
Oh, you're selling me. You're selling me. Maybe I'll finally come around on Dameon Pierce.
I want to watch. I wouldn't be all in yet. I would watch the rest of preseason because if he gets more and more involved, then that's something to be a little bit more worried about. But if he continues to get very minimal touches, or if not none, like I'm going to be all in on Dameon Pierce at his ADP because that's not going to be talked about. When you don't see Dameon Pierce in the field, it's not going to be talked about. He's not going to be someone that's like hyped up because of that. His ADP isn't going to jump around. He's going to stay in like the 5th round, and that's just going to be nice.
Where do you view? So I know we both. I kind of sniped you with JSN. How do you view? Are you still taking JSN like above Jordan Addison, above QJ in redraft, or where are you at with the 3 rookie wide receivers?
Yeah. Well, actually, Addison's really close. He's the locked in number 2 receiver behind Justin Jefferson. If he gets that role, that's really, really exciting for fantasy football. So Jordan Addison is really close for me to Jack Smith-Njigba, but I think Jack Smith-Njigba is the clearly more talented player, and I think that he has more upside in this offense with Geno and the Seattle team. I think he has a lot more potential just because of his talent alone. I think his talent alone could get. I've put this out on Twitter. I've put this out on podcasts, and it's gotten some hate. I don't care. I think there's a realistic world where by the end of the season, Jack Smith-Njigba is the leader in targets on this offense. Over DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, I think there's a realistic world where we see that. He's the leader in targets, and he's already my top-ranked player for this Seattle receiving room in Dynasty, and it's not even going to be close after this year. Not even close.
Not even close. Well, you're talking to an Ohio State fan. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba, the injury that happened last season, if we don't remember, the Rose Bowl happened, the 4 touchdowns, and people were like, holy crap, this guy's going to be Jamar Chase. And then all it takes is one hamstring pull for all of us to be like, oh my gosh, he's injury prone, and he gets drafted at wide receiver, at pick 20 instead of like pick 5. So what? It's still first round. He's going to demolish. I'm excited for Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Oh, yeah.
I know Jordan asked for us to review his team here, so Hutch, I'll let you give him a grade. We're pretty harsh on this channel. Like A is hard to get to, like in any class. So,
man, this is really, really interesting. I like the Cooper Kupp pick at 107. It's great. Jacobs, I love it in the second because Jacobs, before all the holding out crap, he was my RB2 ranked overall. I had him as my RB2. Like I was all in on Jacobs. I think he's gonna be great. He's set up for another massive season with a dump off prone quarterback and Jimmy G. He's set up for a huge season, but now the holding out situation makes it a little tougher, but the 2nd round value is solid. So I'll take it. I love Smitty, love Devontae Smith. He is consistently underrated. He's drafted like the wide receiver 14. That's a smash for me. I think he should be drafted around like 10 to 12 range. He's very, very exciting for this year. And Burrow at quarterback, Jacobs with Mixon paired together. I love Godwin. We were talking about Godwin earlier. I think he's a nice value. Ingram at tight end it's interesting. If Calvin really, really takes a step forward, him and Kirk might take a lot of targets and leave Ingram as number 3, which for a tight end being number 3 in your offense is always going to be an inconsistent role. And then you got some sleepers here with Juju, someone who could lead the Patriots in targets. Samaje Perine for Denver. If Javonte Williams is still injured, he can get a lot of work. I love Sam Laporta. Rookie tight ends don't work out at all, and I'm probably going to get hurt by it, but I like Sam Laporta this late. He's really, really intriguing. And Mingo, 2nd round pick. So I would definitely give this team like a very like B+. It's very, very solid. I like this team a lot.
I was in the same exact boat. B+ is where I would rank it here, Jordan, for you as well.
The only pick I'm worried about, sorry if I may say one.
No, you're good.
The only thing I'm worried about is James Cook. So he's someone I'm really worried about for this year. I don't know how you feel, Caleb, but James Cook is somebody that I just don't stand for this year. I feel like he's a pass catching specialist running back in an offense that doesn't use pass catching running backs. They've consistently been bottom of the league when you look at target share to the running backs because of Josh Allen, the way he runs the football. If he sees pressure, I just don't see him dumping off the James Cook. And he's not somebody that can take a workhorse role. He's not somebody that's going to get goal line carries. I just don't see his fit in this offense. I feel like if he were like a 49er, if they didn't trade for Christian McCaffrey, that'd be so much of a better role for him. He'd be excellent in that offense. But in this offense, he just doesn't fit. I just don't see the fit.
I feel like I've been higher than consensus on James Cook, and
his ADP is low though. I will give you that.
Yeah, his ADP is pretty low. I think for me, a lot of it's like the breakaway run rate, his burst score. I think yards created, like all those stats are super good, but like it also could be you're playing on the Buffalo Bills offense. When you do a read option with Josh Allen, like duh, like the defense can't just commit to you. Like they also have to commit to Josh Allen. Damien Harris getting signed definitely scares me a little bit. And I mean,
Yeah,
there's even
Harris is my word. He's gonna get a lot of touches,
and this
especially in
is
the red
where
zone.
and this is where I'm even worried. I mean, there's even like reports out there that like they're still flirting with like a Kareem Hunt, a Lenny Fournette, even Zeke. Like there's still those,
Yeah.
and I know all those running backs are being flirted with all the teams, and all it takes is one injury. But that makes me a little bit nervous. But I do think like James Cook, if we're talking about this same exact scenario happening, like I'm happy getting him here in the 7th round. I feel like this is great value because honestly, like the running backs around, like I do love Montgomery. He got the big contract with the
I
Lions,
would take Montgomery over him in a heartbeat, honestly.
but do you
It would be
but do you
Montgomery in
think
a
like
heartbeat.
with Montgomery, do you think he's gonna all of a sudden, I think a lot of people just assume, oh, Monty's gonna jump in, he's gonna get 20 touchdowns like Jamal Williams. But even if he
Not
only gets
20.
12, even if he gets 12, like he's still gonna be a back end, like a high end RB2, low end RB1. And I guess you are, of course, getting him here in the 7th round as well. So I see your point there.
Yeah. Like if he gets 8 to 10 touchdowns, like he's gonna beat that ADP easily. And why in the world wouldn't he get 8 to 10 touchdowns? This is an elite offense. I think it's an elite offense, especially with their defense being so poor. They're going to be great. And with Jahmyr Gibbs not being someone that can take a workhorse role, they're going to keep Gibbs healthy, use him more as a receiving back. Dave Montgomery set up for at least like 12 to 16 carries a game. That's just easy as long as he gets in the end zone. And Jahmyr Gibbs will take the primary of the pass catching work, but I wouldn't be surprised if Montgomery gets a catch or two a game. But that's not anything ridiculous. But it's just an added sprinkle. He can pass catch and he can pass block well. So, but Montgomery he's set up to get a lot of touchdowns, and that's why you're drafting him.
No, 100%. 100%. Shout out Aiden for being here later. If you don't go follow his YouTube channel, go follow him. Posts great tweets, threads as well. Jacob had one more question for us that is a little bit less fantasy focused and more like just on NFL focus. So talk about a team that could have the top 2 picks. The Bears have Carolina's pick 2, could both be top 5. And then he's also said Cards will be a lot worse than Bears probably though.
Yeah, I don't see the Bear. I mean, Fields would have to have a horrific season for the Bears to get there. I think their offense with, I mean, their defense is not great. They have some decent players on defense, but their offensive line made some decent improvements this year. As long as Fields takes a step forward, which it seems like it's going to happen, everything out of camp is showing that he's really, really taking a step forward. And I feel like people forget that he was an elite passer in college. Like this dude was great. Yeah. He was a great passer at Ohio State. And that's why teams drafted him. They didn't draft him like they were drafting Anthony Richardson. We were like, oh, he's a project. They drafted him, like he's going to be a stud quarterback in the league. And I think he's going to bounce back with DJ Moore this year, have a really good season. And I just don't see them losing enough games to get the number 2. Carolina's defense is too good. And their division sucks. Their division is beatable. They got a beatable division. They are going to be able to compete in a lot of games with that division. So 100%. I would not bet on either of those teams getting number 2 overall.
Yeah, I think
it might be the Titans.
Ooh.
I think the Titans might get there, man. They're so bad. Because I wouldn't be surprised by a quarterback switch mid-season. They do have a couple players on defense, but that secondary is ridiculously bad. And that receiving core is just awful. Ryan Tannehill's bad. It's bad. There's a lot of bad. And if Derrick Henry falls off, oh my goodness.
Don't say that. My dynasty shares are shaking in their boots with Derrick Henry. I need another solid season.
Yeah,
I'm riding the dinosaur, and it's I need one more.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get there. I think you're gonna be fine. But if it happens this year, which it wouldn't shock me at all, that would be brutal for this team. He's the hardest hold that team.
100%.
He's it.
100%. Well, Hutch, we appreciate you so much for stopping by the channel. You're always welcome to come by anytime you want. As always, if you want to go follow Hutch, here's his, whoa. I don't know why there we are. There is his Twitter. So you can go follow him on Twitter. Of course, go check out his other content, up and coming. I mean, he's already here, but he's just going to continue to grind and get better and bigger in the fantasy football industry. So you heard it here first. I mean, if you haven't heard of him before, you heard of him now. And it's just going to keep going on. So Hutch, appreciate you so much for gracing the channel here tonight and doing a mock draft with all of us.
Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate having me on the show. I am absolutely happy to come back anytime. Just hit me up on Twitter. Just DM me.
100%. Well, appreciate you boys for tuning in here tonight, having some fun with us, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.